Bhupinder Kaur, and 21st of December 2012. I was 9 years old, in grade 3 or 4. I was in Delhi. It's the area called Azad Market, one of the areas which was really... I do not have a lot of memories about that because everything happened in Amritsar. Like I heard from my parents, like talking about this, this happened. But I personally don't have any kind of information about that. Like I can't recall a lot about June 8th. And, I think I was only trying to understand what they are talking about, but I was too young to, or they were probably talking not in front of me. So I don't have a lot of information about June. I was still in Delhi. I know about that because I was there when it all happened, when I heard about Indira Gandhi being assassinated. I can't remember how I came back from, like I know I think I went to school, but I believe by the time we came home, it all started after that, like in the evening. So I just, we were all too scared. Like I heard, I was looking for, like I remember my brother was not home by the time, in the evening, and we heard about, okay, there's some riots happening, and he actually came home, and we were like, okay, thank God he came. And then after that, I remember we started hearing about stories that Sikhs are being killed, and there was, on our house was, my dad is a doctor, so our house was right at the back of, like it was a little compound. It was a dispensary where only 5 or 6 people who were working in that dispensary, like my father, doctor, and then nurse, and then a few of the pharmacists, they were housed at the back. So we were in that compound, and we could hear what's happening. It was right beside that street where we could hear all these noises coming, and there was our little washroom which was at the back of the house. And we were actually trying to peek and see what's happening outside, and we saw people, just actually, there was a lot of violence that was happening on the street, and, as a kid we were not shown too much, but I remember it was really a panic situation in our house. We were very fortunate that everybody was home. And that our house was at the back, that nobody knew that there is houses at the back. Like everybody thought that it's just a dispensary, and nobody actually came in that compound. But it was our area right, like as soon as if I step out of my back door, there were houses which were burned. There's a Gurdwara right, maybe not even, it was just maybe how far is, maybe about 15-20 meters. There was a Gurdwara that we used to go every day, and when I went there after the fact, it was all burned. There was nothing in that Gurdwara, and there was a big tire market at the back of our house, which was all burnt. Yeah, we were fortunate that nobody got killed, but my Phupharji, I remember, he actually had to cut his hair, and my Phupharji, my Pua, they came on the bike, right at that, I believe, early morning, because our area was kind of safe. Like I said, it was not, people didn't know about this. So I remember where they lived was really, there was a lot of killings and all this that happened in that area. So I remember he came to our house driving, but he had to cut his hair
in order to
make that drive, so nobody could see that he's a Sikh. So at least, a lot of my cousins were affected because they had to cut their hair same way, because they were so scared to be seen as a Sikh. We just know that it was because Indira Gandhi assassination was done by a Sikh, and I just know that people were talking about we need to kill all the Sikhs that's around that surviving right now, just to take the revenge. I don't have, I couldn't as a kid understand what's happening, but it was really, I was too scared to even think about what's happening around me now to talk about it. Yeah, we continued to live in the area because again it was, we were lucky to be there, and it wasn't, people didn't know about that, their houses behind. So we continued to live there, and our neighbors were so, we couldn't go out for at least 10 days after the violence. Even, there was a curfew, nobody could go, but in the morning when the curfew was open for 2 hours or so to get your daily groceries and stuff, our neighbors used to go get the things for us, bring it back to us, and that's how we survived for next 10 days. We could not, because that area was really, really scary after that, because they had to move to a different house. They did not go back. I believe their house was all burnt, and I think it was not their. I think they were renting it, so they did not decide to go back there. So they moved to a different location. Just, as kid, when we would talk to each other, when we went back to school, how kids talk to each other, that's all but nothing really. And I actually feel that nobody actually asked these questions to us at that time, especially in India. After coming here, I am noticing about this more, that we are talking about it and we are trying to make ourselves aware. But back home, back in India, nobody would even want to talk about it, or nobody encouraged you or asked you these questions. It seems like nobody wants to get into this conversation. Yeah, it's just here I would see more, more actually young kids like you talking about this and curious to find out. But there, I believe it's either they don't want to talk about it, or probably they were never encouraged to talk about this. Yeah, we did share this information amongst each other, after, I remember a couple of years ago we went to, there was a candle vigil that held for 1984 victims. That's where we went, and when you go to these places and then obviously you talk about your experiences, that's when we shared our information. No nightmares or flashbacks, but I was very confused and very concerned, because I know the area where I lived was a very close community, and my father being doctor, there were a lot of people, how doctors images in front of patients, and there were a lot of people who would come to us and who would greet us just differently. It's a different feeling when when he used to go even in the market nearby, and people used to and so many people knew you. I just felt it was different after that. My area was a Muslim area, totally Muslim area, and the Hindus that were there were mostly Punjabi Hindus. And after that, I noticed, they have actually changed their, even, in front of the houses in India, you would notice there was an Ek Omkar list written, engraved, and they actually were gone after that. People actually removed that. They didn't want to show that they were Punjabis, they were Hindus, and even then they had Ek Omkar and stuff, because I believe that they were all the same in the beginning, but then after the violence, they would rather call them as Hindus, and it seems like they didn't want to have any connection with Sikhs. So I felt very confused after that. Why would this happen? And it was a little strange to me. So that's one thing that I really noticed. I just don't know the reason, but I would say that whatever happened was really, really scared us. I would watch after that, I felt that are we different than others? I never felt that before. but it seems like we were not part of that country. I don't know. It seems like people didn't like us, or why would this happen to us? I cannot say that if it impacted me directly, but it definitely made me wonder, like these questions that used to come to my mind, and why us? Why us? Other than that, I mean, because it did not happen. Luckily, nobody got killed or something. So, but I would definitely. I used to think about it a lot after that for a while, and then it got faded. But since I came here, and you know how here in the gurdwaras you have pictures and of that area, of that time, that actually revived me to think about it, and because I don't have a lot of memories, I was too young at that time. But when I came here, it actually came back to me, and I was thinking about it, and I guess I feel lucky that we were not affected by that. It definitely did, in a sense that it was, the sense of freedom was not there anymore. There is always something in the back of your mind that would remind me, okay, this happened to us. So there was a little hesitation, or little, I was not free